Hello, hello. Welcome to the Life and Transitions Experts YouTube channel, podcast, Facebook group, wherever you are receiving this. We are live streaming like we do every day, Monday through Friday, with content that hopefully is helping you out there make those transitions in life a lot smoother. I like to call myself the Life and Transitions property expert, and so many things happen during people's big changes in life. And one of those big changes is when someone, a loved one, or someone you know passes away, and you now find yourself responsible for settling their affairs. That quite often happens in the probate process. But because of this work, because of this space that I have been in, it has become so imperative, almost like I don't know, it's like my mission to sound the alarm to help people, as many people as possible, get their orders, get their life in order, their estate plan in order, so that they have the permission to live, have permission to pass away, have to, and have confidence that they've done everything that they're supposed to do to keep their legacy intact. There's so many big buzzwords about generational wealth in the last many years that some people are looking for tools and how can they actually protect that generational wealth they created while they're living. And so that's what we're going to look at today. We're going to talk about two tools that are part of an estate plan, and you may have questions about them, or you may already know about them. Feel free to drop some comments into the comment chat or questions that you may have, and we'll do our best to at least address them. Now, I must say, like I say on every single content that I use, that I'm not pretending to be or playing an attorney on my YouTube channel or in TVO commercials, and I'm not giving financial advice, but I am sharing my opinion, sharing my experience. And as always, I hope it is helpful to folks and points them in the right direction. Right down there, you see my email address and phone number. Feel free to reach out if you want to discuss how maybe we can be a part of each other's journey. And yeah, so let's rock and roll. Oh, I got someone from, oh, hey Maurice, up, one of my number one fans right here. Let's see, do I show it? It has to be my mama because she's calling me Maurice. So what's going on? Hope you're doing well, Mom. Hope you made it safe on your travels, and hope you make it safe back on your travels and all the stuff that you're doing today. So yeah, let's look at it. Wills versus trust, comparing the pros and the cons of a will and a trust. Let's start with wills. What is a will? Now, many people are aware of what a will is, but it's really a legal suggestion, a legal document that outlines how a person's assets are supposed to be distributed after their death. It has to be valid and almost across all state. It has to be a self-proving will, whether that's either notarized or you have witnesses, and it states how they want things to be directed. There are many uh, pretty common elements in the will. It usually states who is the executor or who are the executors of the will, who's going to basically execute the wishes as best as they can, based on the will. And a will is what the probate office will use when they are looking at how those assets should be addressed, or those properties should be addressed, and even what can be used to pay off the debt in the that may be have accumulated that is in the estate. All right, a will is a great place that many people don't have, but some folks do have, and they think they're assumed that they're taken care of when they stop at the will. But spoiler alert, at least from my humble opinion, I think the will is not necessarily enough as a complete estate plan. So let's look at some of the pros and some of the cons. We'll start with the pros. Number one, it's simple. Simplicity of a will. It's just you can really don't have to go to many places to jot down a will. You could print things offline. Really all the tools, even for a trust, there are some modern tools that we can use that we'll talk about. But a will is pretty simple, pretty straightforward. It could be one page, two page, three page, or as long as you desire it to be. Another thing is that it is flexible. You can go back in and change it, move it around, do different things based on the laws of the state that you're a part of. But it's pretty flexible. And number three, the will is pretty cost effective. It's usually relatively inexpensive. As I said, you could literally jot down a will on a sheet of paper, and as long as it's uh, has witnesses, and the stronger the witnesses, such as a notary, the stronger it can hold up. But like famous people like Aretha Franklin has handwritten out wills. She has two that were contested, but it just speaks to the point of that they're usually not that expensive. let's talk about some of the cons or some things that I feel like I've learned that need to be thought about when you go through a will. A will still has to go through probate, and probate is long, it's expensive, it's public. We'll talk about that in a few moments. But probate is like filing a civil lawsuit against your family members. I've heard a lot of folks who I really highly that I look to learn a lot of information from share this, and it really is. I've seen it all so many times before. So probate, a will does not avoid probate. In fact, you have to go through probate to execute the will. Number two, it lacks privacy. Probate is public. So anyone can have access to your will to read over and review it. So those who want some form of privacy, you won't necessarily get that with a will. All right. So those are some of the things, pros versus cons, at least from my humble experience. And let's go to a trust. All right. Now, trust, there are many different types of trust: insurance trust, irrevocable, revocable trust. Definitely reach out if you want to talk to an estate attorney, either in your state or yeah, in your state. Definitely, it would be the best option. And I can connect you to some great folks. Or if you already know family or estate attorneys, definitely take the time to reach out. Do yourself, do your family a favor, and they can go into some of the nuances between which type of trust may work best for you. But it's basically a legal entity. You're basically creating a legal entity that manages and holds the assets of someone on behalf of the beneficiaries in a trust. Um, Trusts, I think, are pretty darn awesome. So I'm letting the cat out the bag. Here, let's look at some of the pros of trust. One, it avoids probate because a probate is settling the affairs of someone who owns property or has debt. If the trust owns it, that person is not the person who owns it. If I'm the beneficiary of the trust, or I'm the grantor, or I'm the the person managing the trust, I don't own that property. The trust owns it, so it doesn't have to go through probate. You save on fees, you save on time, and it's there's just it's it's great. There another pro is there's control and flexibility. One thing I really appreciate about a trust is being able to, and I guess a will can do this as well, but as far as being able to dictate and discuss, almost like your what was the word I was using for it? Ah, it's slipping my mind, but you're really leaving your legacy if you write a detailed trust. I know some people who put in their values, their standards, things they want to share with the generations to come. So it's really an awesome way to hopefully don't put too much restrictions, because no telling what the future will hold when you're gone, but you at least get to leave your voice and put that there. And so there's a good degree of control and flexibility, particularly if it's a revocable trust where you can go in and make changes um, there. So that's awesome. And it provides a level of asset protection. It's a little harder for people to dig in and find out, who the owner of the trust is, because we live in a high litigation type society. So when people are going after assets or trying to, sue people over just different things, this provides a certain level of asset protection. There are some folks who say that there's some tax benefits as well of holding things in a trust. Of course, connect with your CPA. It's around that tax time, so it'd be a great time to have that conversation, and you may find some great bonuses are that go with a trust. Let's look at some of the cons. Now, it can cost depending on how complex your estate is. Hopefully, that's a good thing. If your estate is super complex, this usually means you have the dollars and the wealth to be able to deal with it, and you can hire some very trusted advisors to make that happen. So don't let that be an obstacle, but definitely want to put it here as one of the challenges that come. It can cost, if you're going to an attorney, I know anywhere from like hand to hand, holding your hands, $4,000 or $5,000 in the state of North Carolina. But there are, well, we'll talk about that in. I want to let the cat out of the bag, but there is some modern tools that can help you create some documents that you can get that done at a percentage of the time. And there can be, I know it says there's flexibility, but then there's limited flexibility depending on what type of trust you set up. Again, there's many different types of trust, but overall, revocable trust versus irrevocable, just as the word state, irrevocable trust means that like it can't change to a large extent. And so it really depends on what type of a trust that you hold. You definitely have to make sure that the folks who are the beneficiaries and the grantees and the grantors are assigned properly, so that you have succession um, plans in place, as you know, those people may pass away or become incapacitated, so that things can work properly. But overall, I really think a trust is super strong. You can actually have wills that pour into trust so that you're protected, and it gives you a level of protection and security that is just so vital and important as we continue to develop and grow and build our wealth out here. So, yes, there are some awesome tools. I'm not sure if you've seen their commercials, but Trust and Will is a great modern tool for being able to set up your estate plan. My wife and I were really blown away with how we were able to, for less than $1,000, put together our full comprehensive plan. And it's great because they don't allow you to do an a la carte type of service where let me pick and choose, but you are almost, I'm going to say forced, but you are, because of the way it's set up, have everything you need as far as your health directives in place. What are going to be the choices if you become incapacitated? Who can make that decision? Giving people access. Who do you want to have access to your records? Oh, excuse me, that's my wife. Contact me now. Oh, I'll talk to you in a little bit, sweetie. Um, Having, of course, the trust set up. It does have a will inside there, so you can talk about, what do you want to happen upon your death? How do you want it to be, your memorial or your services to go ideally? And there's, I think there's, I feel like there's one other document that's in there that I thought was provided such a comprehensive estate plan that for me was pretty simple. It took us 45 minutes to sit down, and once we had our prior conversations about, serious conversations about what we want our legacy or what we want to happen, completing the documents was simple. And then even transferring, there's a tool within Trust and Will that allows you to transfer and record property so that it goes into the trust so that it is actually publicly recorded. So in other words, you don't want to just create a trust and then not put the house and other things in there to be owned by a trust. You can create the document and say now the trust owns this, but if it's not recorded um, in public records, then the safety is the treasures aren't put in there and the safety's not locked, as Bill Gross would say. When shout out to Bill Gross and Probate Weekly, awesome resource. So I say all that to say, check it out. And if you want a special discount, reach out to me. I do have a relationship with them and can share my discount with you. So would love to do that. And so yeah, do so. There's my number right there. Reach out and I'll share that with you quick, fast, and in a hurry. And if you want to have a conversation, see again how we can be a part of each other's journey. There's my information, Calendly.com, Estate Pro Service. I don't charge anything to have a conversation and talk and see how we may be able to support each other. If you know somebody who needs options for their property, I am a cash buyer. I also have other options available based on what a person needs. I never try to force uh, you know, my solutions down someone's, throat or anything like that. It has to be what works for them. But having options is awesome, right? All right. And these tools give you options, so check them out. All right. Mom, I hope you make it back safe. Holla at your boy. I'm about to call my wife. And yeah, enjoy the rest of this day. This is Courtney Rollins with the Life in Transitions Experts YouTube channel. That's LITE. Let your light shine. All right. All right. And thanks, Coy Victors, and it's very informative. I hope so. Yeah, reach out to me if you have any questions, or again, if you guys have topics you want covered. This allows me literally to learn and to grow as well. Yeah, feel free to do so, and we'll get it covered. All right. Well, take care.